All right, y'all, so we're checking out this one next. This one is scientists discover secret hidden within the world's biggest tree. I don't know either. Let's check it out, though.
You think science and history are boring? Well, these discoveries will show you why science and history are far from what they show you in school. From a new city of the dead found in Egypt to a nearly indestructible moss, here are 20 things scientists discovered that shocked the whole world. Number 20. The City of the Dead. Egypt is known for its necropolises and the hundreds of tombs scattered all over the region. It truly seems like the ancient Egyptians valued death greatly, so much so that we continue to discover cities of the dead one after another. Recently, archaeologists found a sprawling necropolis located near Aswan, containing more than 300 tombs. Now you're probably thinking, that's not a lot, but each tomb is estimated to contain between 30 to 40 mummies. The entire necropolis spans an impressive 270,000 square feet, with the tombs arranged on 10 terraces, creating a layered structure of final resting places. The necropolis also reflects the hierarchy in ancient Egypt, with the higher status individuals buried in the upper terraces, while the lower classes were interred at the base.
That's what I was thinking. They had to be lower class because, A, they were buried together inside of a single tomb. You know what I mean? It's different the higher up you get because they're putting valuables inside your tomb to go with you. So there wasn't room for other bodies.
The burial grounds date back to a period between the 6th century BC and the 9th century AD, covering approximately 900 years of usage. For 9 long centuries, these tombs were used by people to inter the dead, generation after generation, hoping to move on to the afterlife peacefully. The research is led by Patrizia Piacentini from the University of Milan. The team emphasized that while they're trying to learn more about the lives of the mummies interred in the burial, they will ensure to maintain a respectful approach. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. The giant rock dome that towers over the desert. If you look over the Sahara Desert from outer space, you might see a massive feature on the ground. This is the Eye of the Sahara. This massive formation, located in Mauritania, spans an impressive 31 miles in diameter. And
some people, and I say some, believe it's the lost city of Atlantis. Tell me if you heard that one.
Resembles a giant bullseye from above. Now the thing about this feature is that initially, we didn't really know how it formed. First, we thought it was an impact crater left behind by a meteorite, or perhaps just something that naturally formed over time. In recent years, researchers finally discovered how the Eye of the Sahara formed. Around 100 million years ago, during the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea, volcanic activity forced magma to rise from deep within the Earth's crust, forming a dome-like structure. As volcanic activity ceased, erosion by wind and water sculpted the dome. For this reason, this feature consists of various rock types, including sedimentary rocks like sandstone and limestone, as well as igneous rocks such as rhyolite, gabbro, and kimberlite. The different erosion rates of these rock layers over millions of years have resulted in the distinctive circular ridges and valleys we see today. Today, the Eye of the Sahara serves as a landmark for astronauts and a destination for adventurous tourists. Accessible by local travel arrangements in Mauritania, visitors can explore the surrounding desert and even take aerial tours to see this magnificent geological feature in all its glory. Number 18. Experts mistake a 12-year-old girl's body for a warrior. In 1988, archaeologists unearthed well-preserved remains in what is now the Tuva Republic in Russia. Initially, they believed that the remains they found belonged to a teenage boy, one who lived as a young warrior. Not just any warrior, but an Amazon warrior, the great fighters mentioned and known for their strength and grit in Greek literature. In recent years, however, researchers believe that the initial identification of the remains might be wrong, completely, utterly wrong. The warrior wasn't a young boy, but a 12-year-old girl. The burial site of this young Amazon warrior was exceptionally well preserved, allowing researchers to uncover significant details about her life and status. She was found with a remarkable array of weapons, including a 3-foot birch bow, an axe, and 10 arrows made from various materials such as bone, wood, and bronze. These artifacts suggest that she was highly skilled in combat, a trait attributed to the Amazons by ancient historians like Herodotus. Her attire was befitting of her warrior status. She was dressed in a shirt and light brown bottoms, topped with a double-breasted fur coat made from a rodent species called a jerboa. A leather cap completed her ensemble. Before this discovery, we thought that the mythical Amazon warriors were nothing but fiction. With this young girl's burial, we now realize that these mighty and feared warriors truly lived thousands of years ago. Number 17. Scientists discover near-indestructible moss that can survive gamma rays. Imagine a living thing that can survive deadly gamma radiation, freezing liquid nitrogen, and extreme dehydration. Is this Superman? Nope. We're talking about a moss species recently discovered by researchers. Centrichia cananervis, commonly found in harsh environments like the Mojave Desert in Antarctica, has demonstrated this unbelievable resilience. Scientists were so curious about this moss species that researchers subjected them to a series of extreme tests, including exposure to liquid nitrogen at -196 degrees Celsius or -320 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 days. The moss not only survived, but also recovered and grew new branches. The moss would probably say, "Is this everything you got?" to researchers if it could speak. After that test, scientists decided to dehydrate the moss to the point of shriveling and turning black. Yet, it sprang back to life within seconds of rehydration, resuming full photosynthetic activity within minutes. So scientists decided to further amp it up. A mere 4 grays, the unit for radiation dose, is lethal to humans. But this moss? It can survive not hundreds, but thousands more times than the lethal human dose. It took 4,000 grays for this moss to be affected by radiation. This level of radiation resistance is unparalleled among known organisms. But what does this mean for us? Well, given its incredible resilience, this moss could be a key player in future space exploration.
Space? I'm not sure, but this is a guess. Maybe it can help with stuff like cancer and things like that. You know, when you have to take those chemo and radiation treatments and it just tears you apart. How about having something like this to help build you back up and pour more life back into you? Figure out how this could help. Like, see, this is the type of stuff that we come across, and if we really study and do it, could save a lot of lives.
Particularly in efforts to terraform Mars, researchers subjected the moss to conditions mimicking the Martian environment, including extreme temperature fluctuations and high radiation levels. In time, we might be able to use this organism to literally make the red planet habitable. How cool is that? Number 16. Walking tree in New Zealand. In New Zealand, there's a walking tree, not a literal moving tree, but rather one that looks like it's taking a stride. This tree, officially named the Northern Rata, stands at an impressive height of around 105 feet and has earned the title of New Zealand's Tree of the Year for 2024. The walking tree is a lone sentinel in an open paddock near Karamea on the South Island's west coast. Its leg-like roots and sprawling branches give it the illusion of striding across the landscape. Aside from its unique appearance, this tree is also ancient, as it's believed to be a remnant of a forest cleared about 150 years ago, and now stands as the sole survivor of its kind in the area. The farming family that owned the land at the time must have recognized its significance and decided to preserve it, allowing it to become the natural wonder it is today. Number 15. Experts recreate ancient Egyptian beer. While the Romans undoubtedly knew how to party, the ancient Egyptians also knew how to unwind and have fun. Aside from gatherings, they took pride in their food and also their beer. Recently, a brewer from Utah named Dylan McDonald managed to recreate what the ancient Egyptians drank in social gatherings by using a 3,500-year-old Egyptian recipe for brewing beer. McDonald began his journey by studying the Ebers Papyrus, an ancient document filled with medicinal and beer recipes. From this, he selected the most common ingredients mentioned, including desert dates, Yemeni cedar honey, sycamore figs, golden raisins, prickly juniper berries, carob fruit, black cumin, and frankincense. Compiling the recipe was one thing, but tracking down the ingredients proved to be more challenging. Sycamore figs in particular were difficult to find, but with the help of friends and researchers, McDonald managed to source all the necessary components. He used purple Egyptian barley and emmer wheat, traditional grains from ancient Egypt, as the base for his brew. The brewing process took place in McDonald's backyard, where he used a 3-vessel system to create about 10 gallons of beer. The final brew? He named it Sinai Sour, and the taste was undoubtedly unique. It was tart and slightly floral, with a unique flavor that people from ancient times would definitely appreciate more. Those who have tasted the brew claimed that the taste was similar to a German Gose, with a 5% alcohol content and notes of apricot. Number 4.
I bet drinking that will probably last longer than drinking some of the beers that we drink today. I know that's probably better than a Corona or Bud Light or a Natural Light or a Michelob Ultra, or I like Michelob Ultras, but you know what I mean? Like, I bet it's probably better than that, man. We all might need to take notes and try that. Because how many of us are going to stop? Maybe slow down a little bit, but every now and then having you a nice brew is good.
14. A 2,000-year-old garden of a tyrant. Recently, archaeologists discovered a 2,000-year-old garden linked to the notorious Roman Emperor Caligula, a renowned tyrant of ancient times. The garden's remains were first discovered by construction workers near the Vatican during a major project to create a pedestrian piazza linking Castel Sant'Angelo to St. Peter's Basilica. Instead of plain ground, what they discovered were the garden's remains from its walls and foundations, along with various artifacts left behind by people who once roamed the gardens. One of the most significant finds was a lead water pipe inscribed with Emperor Caligula's own name. You see, the emperor rose to infamy not for being a great ruler, but for his tyrannical and extravagant rule. He was the son of Germanicus and Agrippina the Elder. Throughout his life, he was known to be a mad and unpredictable tyrant. By unpredictable, I mean to the point that he allegedly planned to appoint his horse as consul before he died. I don't know why one would ever think giving a horse an official position would be a good idea. Number 13. The largest plant on the planet. Shark Bay, Australia isn't only the haven of green turtles and loggerhead turtles, but it's also home to the world's largest plant. I bet you won't guess just how big this plant is. Want to guess? 112 miles. Yes, this plant is a staggering 112 miles long. However, there are a lot of technicalities involved in this title. You see, this plant isn't a single organism, but an abundance of them, making up a seagrass meadow. This giant plant, known as Poseidon's ribbonweed, is not just the largest plant, but also the largest known clone on Earth, covering an impressive 77 square miles. This seagrass meadow began from a single seeding about 4,500 years ago. Unlike most plants that reproduce with another plant, this organism merely clones itself, with each vertical shoot emerging from the sand. All of them are genetically identical, which means although they're technically different bunches, they're a single entity. Now, as I always say, nature truly is astounding. Number 12. Experts find and decrypt hidden letters of Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary, Queen of Scots was a central figure in the turbulent politics of 16th century Europe when she was imprisoned for nearly 2 decades by her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I of England, who feared that Mary would be a figure used by the Catholics. During her time in confinement, Mary used codes and letters to secure her freedom and reclaim her throne. Over the past years, researchers have discovered these letters and tried to decode them. A retired engineer, a linguist, and a software developer. It took only 3 people to decode and decrypt Mary's letters. The letters in question were discovered in a collection of documents held by various European archives. The codebreakers began by identifying common patterns and recurring symbols within the letters. They compared these with known plain text letters from the same period, gradually piecing together the cipher used by Mary. It's an incredibly lengthy process, but let's get to what they discovered. The letters contain details about political alliances. For instance, Mary's secret negotiations with European powers, seeking support for her claim to the English throne. Letters written by one of history's key figures. This discovery is truly a dream for historians and history lovers. Number 11. The pioneer of ocean mapmaking. In 1920, Marie Tharp was born in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Her father worked as a soil surveyor for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, sparking her interest in maps and geology. Tharp pursued higher education at a time when women were rarely seen in scientific fields. She earned degrees in English and music from Ohio University, geology from the University of Michigan, and mathematics from the University of Tulsa. But what's so significant about her? Well, you see, Marie Tharp is the woman behind the puzzle that is the ocean. She's the one who pioneered mapping the ocean floor, something that continues to help us learn more about the ocean to this day. Marie's scientific journey began when she joined the Lamont Geological Observatory at Columbia University in the early 1950s. At that time, the ocean floor was largely unexplored and mysterious. In fact, people at the time believed that the sea floor was relatively flat and featureless. Tharp's role was to convert the raw sonar data collected from ships into detailed maps. As she meticulously plotted the data, she noticed patterns that suggested the presence of a vast underwater mountain range, now known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Rather than a flat and featureless surface, the ocean floor had ridges and other features. Initially, her findings were met with skepticism, even from her closest colleague. However, subsequent data and the discovery of similar features in other parts of the world's oceans eventually validated her work. The seafloor spreading theory was a fundamental part of the broader theory of plate tectonics, revolutionizing geology and our understanding of the ocean to this day. Number 10. The coldest lava on Earth. Did you know that there's lava in the world that if it somehow touches your skin, you would be fine? It will still be a painful experience.
I'm not taking that chance. I don't care what you Nah, it'd be cool, bro. Just touch it. It ain't gonna do nothing to you. And then you touch it and do something to you. They'll be like, oh, my bad. It's never done that before. Thanks. 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 Nah, I just take everyone's word for it. No, I'm not doing that.
But hey, you'll survive. This is known as carbonatite lava, an extraordinary and rare type of lava that erupts at significantly lower temperatures than typical basaltic lava. While most lava temperatures range between 1,000 and 1,200 degrees Celsius, or 1,832 to 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit, carbonatite lava flows at a relatively cool 500 to 600 degrees Celsius, or 932 to 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. That's still hot enough to hurt you, but the temperature is far more merciful than typical lava. The most notable location for carbonatite lava is El Dueño Lengai, a volcano located in Tanzania. Known as the Mountain of God in the Maasai language, El Dueño Lengai is the only active volcano on Earth that erupts carbonatite lava. This volcano's eruptions produce lava rich in sodium and potassium carbonate minerals. Number 9. Giant snake fossil in India. In the heart of India, paleontologists have unearthed fossils of an enormous prehistoric snake, one that's longer than a school bus. This snake, believed to have lived around 60 million years ago during the Paleocene epoch, is comparable in size to the infamous Titanoboa, the largest snake ever discovered, which lived in South America. The newly discovered snake is estimated to have measured over 30 feet in length, making it one of the largest snakes ever found in Asia. During the Paleocene epoch, the region that is now India was covered in lush, dense forests and swamps, providing an ideal habitat for such a massive snake. This prehistoric giant would have preyed on large animals, including mammals, and possibly even other reptiles. Its size and strength suggest it was an apex predator, much like its South American counterpart, Titanoboa. Titanoboa, discovered in Colombia in 2009, measured up to 42 feet in length and weighed around 2,500 pounds. The Indian snake, while slightly smaller, shares many similarities with Titanoboa, indicating that such giant snakes were a common evolutionary response to the warm tropical climates of the Paleocene. These snakes were part of a lineage that adapted to their environments by growing to enormous sizes, taking advantage of abundant.
You hear that? Do y'all hear that? Now, we know we have a snake problem in areas like Florida here in the United States, right? They're out of control, right? I think it's the python species of snake is out of control right now. Now imagine these jokers deciding to adapt and grow. And grow. They're already huge now, but imagine them growing 40, 50 feet. Yeah, like, this planet shouldn't be that cruel, bro. No way. Like, what you gonna do with a snake that big, man? At that point in time, it could come after humans if it wants to. What can we do?
Abundant prey in stable climates. Well, this is one of the creatures I'm glad to have gone extinct. Number 8. Luca, the last universal common ancestor. We all have Luca in us, the last universal common ancestor. You see, scientists believe that we all came from a single ancestor, given the name Luca. Luca is thought to have lived around 3.5 to 4 billion years ago, during the early stages of the planet's history. Although we can't directly observe Luca, researchers have pieced together its likely characteristics by studying the genomes of modern organisms. Luca was probably a simple single-celled organism with a genetic code similar to those found in bacteria and archaea today. Scientists believe Luca lived in a hydrothermal vent environment on the ocean floor. These vents provided a rich supply of chemicals and energy, making them ideal for the emergence of early life. The high temperatures and availability of minerals could have driven the chemical reactions necessary for life to develop and thrive. Recent studies have continued to refine our understanding of Luca. Advances in genomic technologies allow researchers to explore ancient genetic material with greater precision, uncovering new details about the early evolutionary history of life. Although we still haven't found more specific information about this common ancestor, we're hoping that our advancements in technology will allow us to learn more about this entity. Number 7. The Dendera Zodiac. The Dendera Zodiac is a bas-relief carving that dates back to the late Ptolemaic period, around 50 BCE. Unlike the zodiac signs we see in Western astrology, the Dendera Zodiac arranges these signs in a circular pattern. This layout includes all 12 traditional zodiac signs, along with other constellations and celestial figures. The artwork captures a night sky view, showing how the ancient Egyptians viewed and interpreted the cosmos. The Dendera Zodiac was rediscovered by French scientists during Napoleon's expedition to Egypt in the late 18th century. In 1820, it was removed and transported to France, where it's now housed in the Louvre Museum in Paris, although several claimed that it should be returned to where it was originally discovered. Number 6. Black Fungi. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine experienced a catastrophic meltdown, releasing massive amounts of radioactive material into the environment. The immediate area around the plant was evacuated and became known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a region with dangerously high levels of radiation. Many would think that new life wouldn't be able to flourish where radiation spreads. Yet years later, we've been proven wrong. In the early 1990s, researchers began to notice a peculiar black substance growing on the walls of the damaged reactor. This substance turned out to be a type of fungi known as black fungi, or radiotrophic fungi. These fungi are characterized by their dark pigmentation, which is due to the presence of melanin, a compound also found in human skin that protects against UV radiation. Astonishingly, these creatures had the great ability to not only survive, but thrive in high radiation environments. Studies have shown that black fungi can use radiation as an energy source through a process similar to photosynthesis. Instead of sunlight, these fungi utilize melanin to convert gamma radiation into chemical energy. This goes to show that life here on Earth is bizarre enough as it is. Number 5.
Yeah, I'm looking at my melanin like, nah, don't come trying to get my melanin and try to do something with it. No, thank you, bro. Like, I can see it. They bring you in and tell you it's for something else, and then they ended up stealing your melanin. It's just like, remember people were finding themselves in bathrooms on ice and the kidneys missing and the organs being sold on the black market? Next could be your melanin. How about that? Man, y'all better wisen up. What they say, stay woke.
5. People born blind never diagnosed with schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a complex mental disorder characterized by disruptions in thought processes, perceptions, emotional responsiveness, and social interactions. Symptoms often include hallucinations, delusions, and cognitive impairments. The exact causes of schizophrenia are not fully understood, but it's believed to result from a combination of genetic, biological, and environmental factors. It's a terrifying disorder, but there's one puzzle surrounding it. You see, in history, there has never been a time when someone born blind was diagnosed with this mental disorder. This discovery is still a puzzle for researchers to this day. Several hypotheses have been proposed to explain why congenitally blind individuals do not develop schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is often associated with altered sensory processing, particularly in the form of visual hallucinations. Since people born blind do not process visual information in the same way, this might contribute to the absence of certain schizophrenia symptoms. The brains of individuals born blind also undergo significant structural and functional adaptations. These changes could potentially alter the neural circuits involved in schizophrenia. For instance, the occipital lobe, which is typically used for visual processing, is repurposed for other functions, such as enhanced auditory or tactile processing. If we can understand the reason behind this, it could possibly lead to preventative measures and medication for people suffering from this disorder. Number 4. Scientists uncover the secret behind the construction of the ancient Egyptian pyramids. Since the fall of the ancient Egyptian civilization, humanity has been intrigued by the Great Pyramids, not only for the tombs and artifacts inside them, but also because of how incredibly hard they are to build. For so long, we've wondered and speculated about how people in ancient Egypt managed to construct the pyramids without any modern tools. Recent research, however, has revealed the possible secrets of these structures. One of the long-standing mysteries has been how the massive limestone blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, were transported. However, today, recent discoveries suggest that the Egyptians used a system of canals and boats to move these blocks closer to the construction site.
Yeah, but you still had to move them to the area where this pyramid is being built. So from the water to that spot still requires a lot of movement, distance. So how did they still do it that way?
Archaeologists found evidence of a waterway that connected the Nile River to the pyramid complex, facilitating the transportation of heavy materials over long distances. Experts also believe the ancient Egyptians used an ancient ramp system at the Hatnam quarry in the eastern desert. This system consisted of a central ramp flanked by 2 staircases with post holes. It's possible that the Egyptians used a combination of sleds, ropes, and manpower to haul the massive stones up steep inclines.
That's not new. We've heard that before. We've heard about that process. We've even talked about that process before, because they possibly used to go up that ramp animals, people, different things to try to get those and move those things. But we've come to believe it's got to be more than that.
Now, for so long, we also believed that the pyramids were built by people at the bottom of Egypt's ancient society, but it turns out that this wasn't the case. Contrary to the popular belief that the pyramids were built by ordinary workers, evidence suggests that a skilled workforce was employed. These workers were well-fed and housed in nearby worker villages, indicating a highly organized labor force. Number 3. Scientists discover a cloud of alcohol in space. Did you know there's a cloud in space that's entirely made out of alcohol? Each year, we find something in outer space that's truly hard to believe. This colossal cloud of alcohol that scientists discovered is known as Sagittarius B2. This molecular cloud is located near the center of our Milky Way galaxy, approximately 390 light-years from the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's core. This cloud is one of the largest known molecular clouds, spanning about 150 light-years in diameter. Among the various molecules detected in Sagittarius B2, astronomers have discovered significant amounts of ethyl alcohol and other complex organic molecules. This basically means that the same substance used to create medicine and bombs here on Earth is just one giant cloud floating in the endless darkness of outer space. The detection of alcohol and other organic molecules in Sagittarius B2 was made possible through the use of radio telescopes. These telescopes can detect the specific frequencies of radio waves emitted by different molecules. By analyzing these radio signals, scientists can identify the chemical composition of distant cosmic objects. Number 2. Resurrecting the woolly mammoth. Did you know that scientists have been trying to bring extinct animals back to life? Yes, you heard that right. With our technology, reviving these creatures isn't something that's confined to sci-fi or sci-fantasy movies anymore. The woolly mammoth is one of the creatures people have been trying to bring back into existence. The woolly mammoth.
Why? We don't know how that creature's gonna react now or respond to how things are now. It can react violently. You get it here, it don't like it, it feels out of place or something triggers it. And now here we have this problem. I know this isn't gonna stop them, but we need to think about that.
Mammoth was a massive elephant-like creature that lived during the Pleistocene epoch. Covered in thick fur with long curved tusks, these giants were well adapted to the cold climates of the Ice Age. They went extinct around 4,000 years ago, likely because they simply failed to adapt to the changing planet, along with overhunting by ancient humans. And now, we're trying to bring them back to life once again. The idea of resurrecting the woolly mammoth gained momentum with advancements in genetic engineering. One of the leading figures in this field is Dr. George Church, a geneticist at Harvard University. The primary strategy is to use the DNA of the woolly mammoth, extracted from well-preserved remains found in permafrost, and combine it with the DNA of its closest living relative, the Asian elephant. Sounds easy, but the process is complicated. A critical tool in this process is CRISPR-Cas9, a revolutionary gene editing technology. CRISPR allows scientists to make precise changes to an organism's DNA by identifying and editing genes responsible for traits like thick fur, fat storage, and cold tolerance. Scientists aim to create not an exact replica of the woolly mammoth species, but a combination of the modern elephant and the ancient creature. What's your take on reviving extinct creatures?
That it never turns out how they initially planned it to. It always goes bad at some point in time. And the people end up suffering the most. The scientists run off in their little laboratories and safe spaces, and it's us left holding the bag. That's what I think.
Are you for or against it? Let me know in the comments down below. And now it's time for today's topic. Scientists discover a secret hidden within the world's biggest tree, and it's unbelievable. Currently, the General Sherman tree is recognized as the largest in the world. However, this photo allegedly shows an even larger tree, far larger than General Sherman. This was captured by amateur archaeologists exploring an undisclosed location in Africa. They also claimed that the trunk of this tree was unbelievable. Inside it was an entire ecosystem with microorganisms and insects they had never seen before. Ecosystems that evolved separately from the rest of the world aren't something unheard of. We've discovered secret worlds hidden in sinkholes, ice, and even in the harsh hydrothermal vents underwater. While this discovery is possible, the location of this tree is yet to be announced and verified. Have any of you seen the General Sherman tree in person? If so, do you really think a tree far larger than it is still out there in the wilderness? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 1. Microbes from 3.5 billion years ago. In Australia, scientists unearthed the oldest fossilized microbes dating back an astonishing 3.5 billion years. The fossilized microbes were discovered in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. This region is renowned not only for its stunning landscape, but also for having one of the oldest geological formations on the planet. The fossils represent microorganisms that lived 3.5 billion years ago, a time when the Earth's environment was vastly different from today. These microbes are believed to be among the earliest life forms, thriving in a world without oxygen under harsh conditions that would be inhospitable to most modern life forms. Researchers used advanced techniques to analyze the fossils, including microscopy and spectroscopy. The analysis revealed that these ancient microbes likely played a crucial role in shaping the Earth's early environment, contributing to the development of what we call our home today. While the last ancestral cell completely blew my mind,